Now let us say about economic soil classification. What is economic soil classification? It's nothing but this classification is given by the revenue department, mostly purely for the purpose of taxation. So how this taxation will be done? It is nothing but grouping of soils based on their productivity and for the taxation purpose. For example, if any soil has a very good productivity, it's very diverse spread crops. If we can grow sugarcane, paddy, and some maize and all those different crop means based on their productivity, they will classify it. It is a high. They will put some tax on that particular soils for the taxation purpose. This is economic classification. This classification solely depend on soil productivity plus potential for the irrigation. So this classification mainly potentially highly classified based on the soil productivity and potential for the irrigation. And this type of irrigation will produces different types. So this classification or this taxation is done based on the your production of the different crops in your particular land area. But this classification has one disadvantage. Imagine in particular land, in one season, it has a different types of production is there. So it's a very bumper crop is there. Different crops has been grown and they consider it as a high taxified land. But unfortunately, in another season, there might be a catastrophic failure of the crop or there may be floods will be there. So what will happen? We cannot consider that particular soil is a highly economical classified highly taxable land. So these are the some disadvantages about this classification. So this is not practically, I mean, it is not so scientifically useful for our soil scientist community. Now let us see, and another classification is your physical classification. Physical classification is nothing but grouping of soils based on your soil texture. Very simple, we know what is texture and all. So based on soil texture, like sandy soils, clay soils, or sandy loam soils, etc. So these are closely associated with soil productivity and management aspects. So this based, even though this physical classification is done in soil texture, but these classifications closely associated with the soil productivity and management. An example for this physical classification is your sandy soils and loam soils and of course clay soils. So these are the examples for the physical classification. And another based on the structure, there is in the same physical classification, they will classify it as a single grain and aggregated soils. So this is also a better classification compared to the economic classification, but still there is no that much systematic evaluation, or what do you say? There is, we cannot bring it into a very scientific manner in this physical classification. And another classification is your chemical classification. What is chemical classification? In the name itself, it says that it's based on the chemical properties of that particular soil. If we like a calcium carbonate content or a soil reaction, that is pH. So example for this chemical classification, if your soil has a high pH, it is called acid soils. If you have a low, if the pH is more than 7, 6, more than 7, like up to 8, it is called the saline soils. And if the more calcium deposits are there, that is called the calcareous soil. So this is what the chemical classification deals. And geological classification. Geological classification is nothing but based on your deposits. Based on that is called sedentary soils and transported soils. Sedentary soils are nothing but they are the in situ. So the soils are produced in the same location. There will be no translocation of these soils from one area to another layer. So this geological classification is completely based on the location, depositions, whether the soils are sedentary or the soils are transported soils. Sedentary means the soils will produce in the same location. If the soils are produced in the same location, there will be no translocation of these soils will be taking place. But in transported soils, we have already discussed about this transported soil, sedentary soils in detail in the parent material lecture. Please go through those links in the description. So transported soils are nothing but all these are all the deposits brought by the river and lake and ocean. And of course, colluvium deposits are based on the gravity, alien materials like broad materials brought by the wind, etc. So this is a sort of geological classification. Even though it looks somewhat very scientific and very good, but still it is not that much so systematic systematic for the soil science community. And another important classification is your physiographic classification. Physiographic classification is nothing but based on your topographic conditions or relief conditions, whether their soils are in a basin or in a terrain or in a mountain or valley regions or a hilly upland, and lowland area. Just like the soils are produced in this area is something different, or in this area is something different, and soils and in this foothill or somewhere this is a foothill, and in this location is something different. So based on the physiographic location, this physiographic classification has been done. This is also not that much fundamentally useful for our soil science community. Now let us see what are the other systems of classification. There are many type of classifications are there, which is not used in nowadays for present situation. So we need not to go in detail, but we will see some small glimpse. What are those? Based on the organic matter, organic soils. If there is more organic, it's called organic soils, and mineral or inorganic soils. So these are based on organic matter. We will classify the soils like this, like two types. And based on the climate, we can say arid soils. Based on the climate, arid zone soils, and humid soils, and subhumid soils. And based on the vegetation, we will see forest land soils and grassland soils, and we will see these are the different type of other systems of classification. So these are the early systems of classification, just for the knowledge purpose we are discussing, but there is no much practical implications of these classifications in present scenario. Thank you very much.